Welcome, friends. Today, we are doing another fragrance rotation video for the week ending the 28th of April, 2024. Sensational. That is right, my friends. Once again, I have returned. Returned to you this time with a fragrance rotation video. And looking at the fragrances I have worn this week, I have worn some lesser worn things, would you believe? There's a couple in here that I'm wearing for the first... There's a few in here that I'm wearing for the first time this year. And there's a few in here that I haven't worn for quite some time. So let's start, shall we? And one of the fragrances I haven't worn for a while, and the first fragrance I wore and absolutely loved it because it's fucking brilliant, is Liberte by Jean Patou. This is sensational. I think you can still get it, but it's not as good. So beware. If you can find the vintage bottles, do. It was released in 1987. It is got this kind of citrus opening with a warm, round, sweet lavender with a little bit of spice, a little bit of florals in there, but like this kind of nutmeg, vintage dry down, like sandalwood, nutmeg, patchouli, cinnamon, lavender, jasmine. Oh, it's top fragrancery. This, that's not a word, but I'll fucking allow it. You know, made by the legendary Jean Curliot, one of the finest perfumers there was, certainly in the second half of the 21st century. All of the, excuse me whilst I hydrate, I got excited there. Certainly for the house of Jean Patou, he was a traditionalist. He released all the great Patou fragrances, Patou pour Homme, Liberte, Voyage, I think. Fantastic. And I just wish there were more perfumers who perfumed like him around today. But there aren't, unfortunately, so we have to find vintage bottles. This is my 100ml. I also have a 200ml, and I'm considering getting another backup because it is that fucking good. You know, it is that fucking good as well. You know, this is absolutely gorgeous stuff. It's fresh, but it's warm. It's a little bit ambery. Just the slightest hint of powder. I think it's marketed towards women. It might be a thing. It's marketed fucking unisex, to be honest, but anyone could wear that. It just smells great. So find ye some Liberte, vintage Liberte. Next up, we have a fragrance that I swore I would give another chance to. I was going to sell this. And then I decided against it, and I would give it a second chance. And I'm glad I did, because I really enjoyed wearing it. And this is Body Choros. This is the vintage version. It was released in 2000, and Annick Minardo made it. Annick Minardo, one of the finest perfumers that we have, or had. I don't know if she still does stuff. I hope she does. If I had my own house, I would have Annick Minardo as in-house perfume. I should certainly be on the shortlist, like 2 or 3. And to be honest, I'd probably lean towards Annick Minardo. She's fucking brilliant. This is incense, eucalyptus, mace. I always remember this has got mace in it. And I'm not entirely sure I know what mace is like. I think it's a bit resinous, a little bit woody. And the main star of the show is benzoin. But the eucalyptus incense benzoin thing is an amazing accord, amazing scent profile. It's beautiful. It's got a little bit of dryness, but a little bit of gloopiness from the resin. It's got a little bit of freshness. It's a little bit powdered. It's brilliant. You can smell... I think there's a direct line between this and Bois d'Argent, which she also did 4 years later. Not the same perfume by any stretch, but the kind of vibe I get from them, this kind of powdery, soft, ambery, masculine kind of thing. Amazing. She also did Jaipur pour Homme, which has similarities to this as well. So she was tinkering around between 97 and 2005 with this kind of powdery, resinous, ambery thing. And thank God, because this is a fantastic perfume. You can guarantee that you'll see this again. This is the vintage bottle. The newer bottle is different. Doesn't have the little glass bits sticking out the bottom and the top because, well, it's cheaper for them to produce all the same type of bottle and then just change the paint on it, isn't there? You know what I mean? So, next up, what do we have here? We have a fragrance with an absolutely shocking sprayer is what we have. But the fragrance is brilliant. And this is Tuscany per Uomo. Tuscany per Uomo by Arame was released in 1984. I always want to say 1994, but it wasn't. It was 1984. And this is, to me, it's a lot more than this, but it's a smoke moss fragrance. It reminds me a lot, well, I suppose Smalto Pour Homme reminds me a lot of this because this came out first. But it's like this leather, oak moss, aniseed, citrus lavender thing. And this is amazing. And I've got a few bottles of this and I'm very glad. The spray is woeful. The sprayer, it comes out almost sideways. You know, it comes out like, it doesn't spray forward. It sprays like out in like a circle. And it's like, oh. So you've got to try and like attack where it's being, you spray it and you're like, oh, get it on us. You know. There's lots of citruses at the top, lemon, bergamot, all the usual shebang. It's also got aniseed, which it shares with Smalto Pour Homme. A little bit of spiciness in the middle, and then it's got that Italian oak moss leather, smoky, patchouli, woody dry down. It's gorgeous. And the main stars of the show are lavender, leather, aniseed, smoky oak moss. Beautiful. Performance is really good. I don't know if you can still get this, but this is the vintage bottle. This is an older bottle, absolutely. Yeah, these are really, I think this is an early 90s bottle. I don't think it's an original, but it's certainly older than the modern. Next up we have a fragrance that is no stranger to the channel, and I think I might have one or two wears of this left if I'm being perfectly honest. And then this bottle will be finished. Can you guess what it is? Of course, it is Dior Homme. Dior Homme I wore, the 2005 version. There's not really much more I can say about this that I haven't said already. I should really review it. Maybe I'll do a comparison video if I haven't already done one. I have a nasty habit of forgetting. what videos I've already done. I was going to do a review of I can't even remember what I've forgotten now. So that should tell you everything. I needed to review this or compare it to the 2011, and then maybe get a sample of Dior Homme original and compare it to that as well, because that was a reissue, or maybe it's a re-release or a reformulation after they released Dior Homme 2020, the absolute abomination that it was. No need for that. But anyway, that was Dior Homme. That's what I wore on Thursday. On Friday, I wore something, I think for the first time this year. Oh, it's so fucking good. I've been wearing a lot of vintage stuff this week, clearly, you know. And that's my forte. That's what I'm known for. That's what I like to wear as well. Anyway, this is Arden for Men Sandalwood Cologne. This was released in 1956. A fucking 30 years before I was released. Bloody hell. Excuse me whilst I hydrate. This has got clary sage, lavender, bergamot, petitgrain, oak moss, vetiver, sandalwood, of course. It's called Sandalwood Cologne. Like resins, like a bit ambery. It's floral. But mainly for me, this is kind of like a lavender, clary sage, sandalwoody, like a classy. Do I prefer this as a smell to Eau Sauvage? Possibly. It's got that austere kind of thing, but there's a fat pound of lavender in here, and it's lovely. It's really, really lovely. You can see I've put a huge dent in it. That's because it's a splash, and I decant it into here, into my little decanter thing. So, and the sprayers on these are fucking immense, Jesus. So I hoy that on. I've got loads of bottles of it, and I intend to use them all. It's a 4-ounce bottle, 118 ml. How awkward. That doesn't do my OCD any good whatsoever. But not to worry. Next up, yesterday, if you will, and even if you won't, yesterday I wore, not my latest acquisition actually, because that's Cuir de Lancôme, which I got yesterday. Thank you to the anonymous Fragrantica user. Anyway, this is Paddock by Hermes. You can see there is a mighty dent in it. I have sent it to all 4 corners of the country. And it's lovely. It really is very lovely, this. It's carrot seed, hay, honey, chestnut, leather strap rather than leather saddle. You know, just like this kind of hint of dark brown in there. I really love the picture on the front. It's like, hey, horse, how are you? You know? Like, and it's beautiful. I was at the Hermes stand today in my local department store, and I smelled Gallo, and I'm having thoughts. I'm having thoughts about Gallo. I would like to maybe buy it. I need to spend a little bit more time with it, but there is a good chance I will end up buying that perfume because it's really, really lovely. So Hermes is doing well for me at the minute, you know. And that was Paddock. Great performance on the Paddock. Great performance. Anyway, last but certainly not least, my scent of the day. And my scent of the day is a vintage Azzaro Pour Homme. It's not the deep vintage, but it is vintage. This was released in 1978. I was going to say 4, but it was 8. I think it was 74 for Paco Rabanne Pour Homme, which this shares a lot of similarities to. Perhaps I will do a comparison video. That would be interesting. Comparing vintage Azzaro Pour Homme and vintage Paco Rabanne Pour Homme. How interesting. Maybe I will do that. This is, again, lavender, aniseed, clary sage, sandalwood, oak moss, leather, cedar, citruses at the top. It's beautiful, and I really enjoyed wearing it today, and I dare say I'll wear it again. I wanted to wear something off that shelf this week, and I did. So got a little bit of laundry about it, but that's like the starchy lavender, but it's beautiful. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me, friends. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I will see you all again soon. Bye.